Today I'm going to be hiking Pine Creek Canyon inside of Red Rock Canyon Conservation Area. I'm in the parking lot right now, about to get started. I'm going to hike right through there and go just to the right of that big huge rock in the middle. So right off the bat, you can notice there's a lot of vegetation growing down in this valley before you get to the canyon. It's quite interesting. A lot of cactus, see some Joshua trees, and just some different plants, some trees over there, some pine trees, which is probably why they call it Pine Creek Canyon. It's amazing to me the stuff that can grow out here with such little water, and all these different kinds of plants and cactus. I'm not sure how much it rains out here, but I'm willing to bet it's less than 5 inches a year. The trail is basically sand with some rock. Pretty much the outlying area is also pretty sandy. And again, just so many different types of shrubs and trees out here. Given the amount of rain that they receive, I just find that miraculous. Okay, we're approaching the canyon right now. Again, it's just to the right of this big triangular shaped rock in front of us. And to the left, we start to see some orangish, yellowish type trees. It's actually fall right now, November something. And we got a big pine tree right there. Again, I just can't say it enough. It's amazing to me how plants can thrive with so little resources, meaning so little water, and just all this vegetation in the middle of the Mojave Desert. I just love it. I think it's beautiful. These rock formations I find to be pretty unique as well. They're basically just sheer cliffs on both sides of the trail, and you definitely wouldn't want to go up there and fall or anything. Hiking up through those areas would be very rugged, and when we get up here, I do believe there's going to be some people rock climbing inside the canyon, so we'll see once we get there. There's a trail that goes down that way, but I'm actually going to go this way into the canyon. Now you kind of have to climb some rocks to get up in here. Not too bad though. Just navigate your way over the rocks and through the trees. As you get into the canyon, you see that the sun, well, it becomes much more shady, and also it's much cooler in here. Now, because it's November, it's not too hot outside anyways, but definitely a great spot to come in the summer when it's in the hundreds out there in the without any cover. So again, when you get in here, it's just a lot cooler, a lot more pleasant. Now we can start to see the first signs of water. Got some folks rappelling today. So I'm nearing the end of the canyon. As you can see, it kind of closes in on itself. Now obviously I'm not going to try to climb straight up the canyon, but I do plan on going in as far as I can. So when you get up here, you're actually able to start climbing up pretty safely. I wouldn't recommend it for for a lot of people, but it's safe as long as you're careful coming up. So I've came about halfway up. I'm just resting, getting some water. I gotta be honest with you guys. I never dreamed you'd be able to come up here and hike all the way to the top. But sure enough, after lots of rock climbing and navigating through that canyon, I'm basically here at the top. Now there is some area behind me, so I'm not at the top. If you were very bold, you could climb all the way up there. However, I am not going to do that. I'm just going to simply enjoy this view from where I came from. You know, this hike today really got me thinking. And the first thing it got me thinking about was people that are going through hard times. Because as I was walking, especially when I first started, there wasn't much to see. It was just dirt and rocks for the most part. And it got me thinking, you know, about people that are going through hard times in life. You know, when you're in that situation, all you can think about is everything that's going wrong. You don't think about the positive things. You know, I was looking down at some of these plants and I started to think, wow, these plants are doing so much with so little. And I started thinking, you know, if when we start going through those rough situations, instead of just thinking about how hopeless things are, why not start looking at details or aspects of our life that we can be grateful for? That we can say, wow, this might be a really terrible situation, but at least I've got this going for me. And even look ahead into the future and think it might look bad now, but maybe things will get better. And as I got into the canyon, I started to realize, you know, there's water flowing through here. There's trees growing. And I thought, you know, if only when we're going through bad times in our life, we would be able to see life as such. It'd be so much better. And in fact, if you are going through a bad situation like that, think about that. Think about not only the things that you have right now you can be grateful for, and the things that you can look forward to are going to be even better. The second thing I started to think about was the way that we view people. When I first started hiking through the desert, again, I had a very kind of low view. It looked like rocks, dirt, not very many trees, no water for sure. And as I got into the canyon and got closer and closer, I started to see more signs of life. I started to see more things flourishing. And I thought, you know, there's been a lot of people in my life that I've had negative views of, and if only I would have taken the time to really look at the details and maybe just wait for a little bit and start to get to know the person. Instead of thinking about all these things I don't like about the person, why not start focusing on the things that I like, and why not give that person a chance? Maybe, just maybe, we can develop a good relationship if we just thought about it that way. If we just thought about it kind of like the hike that I went on. First starts off rough, right? Starts out dirt, rocks, nothing. And the more you go into it, the more good you start to see in it. The more hope and life and light you start to see in it. And the third thing I started thinking about as I was going through the hike and as I was finishing the hike was how we view groups of people. See, humans have this weird thing where we will single out a group of people and say, this is the worst group I've ever experienced. And we develop these stereotypes. And the trap that we fall into is called a hold apart fallacy. We see the whole of this group, we focus on those negative attributes, and we say, there must be nothing good that can come from this group. As I was going through the desert, I thought about how I viewed the desert before I started the hike. Desolation, dirt, rocks, no trees, no water, no hope. And as I got further and further into my hike, I started to realize that big view that I had of the desert isn't actually always true. Yes, the desert is a lot of desolation. Yes, the desert is a lot of dryness and not very much water. But as I got into the canyon, I started to see trees, water, things growing. And I realized the whole view that I had of the desert there's details within the desert. There's parts of that desert that aren't like that at all. And that group of people that you're thinking about, whether it's a religious group, whether it's a political group, whether it's an ethnic group, realize this. Maybe the big picture that you see, maybe it's true, maybe it isn't. But you know what? I guarantee that there's people within that group, and there's aspects of that group that you'll actually find redeeming. You might meet somebody within that group and develop a relationship and give you a completely different idea and realize that that view that you had wasn't true at all. There's actually good people within that group. There's good aspects within that group. So those are the 3 things that I thought about as I went through my hike. Thanks for watching.